So I thought I'd do this question and answer video. I have got quite a few questions that have come from different videos. They've not all come from the same video, but if I didn't respond to it actually on YouTube, that's probably because I'm going to answer it in this video right now. So they're all kind of a different variety of topics as well. So I just thought I'd answer them all, and then anyone who answers questions later on, we might save them and use them for the next question and answer video that we do. So the first question is, how long is my visa valid for, and then what happens at the end of the visa? So the visa I'm on currently is just a 2-year working holiday visa, which means I can live here for 2 years, I can work here for 2 years, all perfectly simple and straightforward. So when I get to the end of 2 years, technically I have to go home because I wouldn't be allowed to stay in the country or work in the country anymore. But what I'm going to do, once me and John have lived together for 1 year, we're classed as a common law couple. We're in a common law relationship. And then from that, I can then apply to another visa, which means I will have or be able to get permanent residence and be able to stay here and continue to work in the country. Sounds a bit confusing, but we'll go through it because I'm going to do it and I'll probably film everything I do and we'll talk through the entire thing because it's a bit of a process, and I think it's like a year process to actually get the permanent residence. And then, yeah, we'll see. On the back of that, someone else did ask, I don't think it was on YouTube, I think it was on my TikTok account, but asked if I want to become a Canadian citizen. Now, there is a difference between being a resident and being a citizen of the country. For example, my mum has lived out in Spain for about 5 years now. She is a resident, she's allowed to live in the country. She doesn't work, she's retired, but I suppose she could work there if she wanted to. So she lives there permanently. She has no property or home in the UK anymore. She's lived there for about 5 years. She is not a Spanish citizen. She's told me she doesn't want to be a Spanish citizen, and that's perfectly fine. She's allowed to do that within the country. I'm guessing it's the same for all countries. I need to check. I don't think you have to become a citizen. As long as you're a resident, you can stay. And then there's the thing about dual citizenship, so you can maybe keep one, you can keep both passports, you could get a Canadian passport, because I think that's all the citizenship is, really, is having a passport that says Canada on it as against to having one that says UK on it, which I don't really care as long as it gets me in and out. It seems silly to keep a UK passport and then have to renew it and it be sent from the UK every 10 years. Why not just get a Canadian one and then just have it sent from inside Canada? That just seems to make more sense to me. So I probably, for me, excuse me, for me, I probably would do the citizen thing. Just seems to make more sense to my life. Plus, because John's Canadian and Canada makes more sense. And I don't really care what passport I hold out of those two countries. It doesn't really bother me. But that's a ways down the road. So I know you're not allowed to become a Canadian citizen until you've lived in the country for, I think it's 5 years. I've got a friend over in BC who's just done it. You have to take like a test and then have this little citizenship ceremony and all this kind of stuff. So it sounds pretty cool, but yeah, it's a way, 5 years away at least yet. A couple of people asked questions about what I like to do. So someone asked if I was into camping, because that's a very Canadian thing to do, which is very true. John's dad and a lot of his family, I know they go camping quite a lot. They have what I would call a caravan, what they call a trailer, and that's something they do quite a lot. John does go with them. We used to quite a lot when he was younger, definitely. I've done camping in a tent when I went camping with guides. That was a long time ago. I've been in my best friend's caravan when we've been on holiday together and stuff like that with her mum and dad and her family. That kind of camping wasn't really for me. I know over here it's a little bit different. I would like to try it, I think, and then we'll see where we go from there, because obviously it's going to be a slightly different experience to camping in the UK, because it always rains, doesn't it? Just sat in a caravan with it raining. So yeah, we may give that a go at some point. Someone else asked if I like to crochet or knit. I can knit. Both my grandmothers taught me how to knit. I haven't got anything that I've knitted. I just quite like it. It's quite fun. I'd knitted a big, very long scarf for a prop for a show I was doing once when I was living back in London. I just remember knitting it, changing colour and all that. I know how to knit, I just don't have I have nothing to knit for, if you know what I mean. Crochet, I tried to learn how to crochet and struggled so much. I had like a kit, it was meant to be a kangaroo, and so I couldn't get my head around how you were meant to, it just confused me because it's obviously so different from knitting, and I thought it was going to be really similar, and it wasn't. Although I think I have seen like a learn to crochet group around here somewhere, so whether I try that again, that could be a thing, we'll see. Lots of people asking me what the weather's like over in Canada. Obviously the stereotypical view is it's very, very cold, but the summer's actually really beautiful. If you've seen over my other videos, you've seen a lot of us, we've been outside a lot of the time. I've been in shorts when we've been outside most times. It's been kind of at least mid-20s, high 20s, 30s. This week's going to be about 29, 30 all week. So the summers are pretty warm, pretty humid. Feel like really long days of just lots of sunshine. It's still sunny now and it's about sort of 8 o'clock outside, so that's good. Obviously it does change more drastically than it does in the UK because we have to get down to the low temperatures that happen in winter. It's normally about, I think it's like October, November. I haven't been for the change between the seasons before, but I've been here for a winter and I've been here during the summer, so it's the bit in the middle, I don't know. I think it changes about October and then it gets warmer about March-ish. Obviously the winter is quite cold, a lot colder than the UK winters that I'm used to at least. Obviously it goes down to about -20, has done when I've been here previously. Snow, the first time I saw it that it snowed here, I was amazed. I was stood watching it at the window for ages and everyone looked at me like I was weird, because it was just normal here. It was like if we stood at the window watching the rain in the UK, you just wouldn't do that. So we'll see if that's going to happen this year. I probably will be super excited again when it snows for the first time. I remember when I've been here during the winter, we made a snowman. That was a big deal for me because we don't get that amount of snow where I'm from in the UK. I've made small little snow animals, but we never made like a full-size snowman because we just didn't have enough snow. So yeah, the weather is drastically different, but currently the summer is greatly improved and very, very nice. Next question is about mobile networks in Canada. So as far as I'm aware, no phone provider is the same as the ones in the UK, apart from, I think Virgin Mobile exists here and they exist in the UK. I know some other countries have similar mobile networks to that exist in the UK. For example, Vodafone was my provider in the UK. I know they exist out in Australia and New Zealand. I've seen the shops. But over here, not so much. The US has T-Mobile, which is to us now EE. We used to have T-Mobile once upon a time, but Canada are completely different. And it seems to be 3 big phone companies, and then they own like smaller companies underneath, and then companies under. It's like 3 kind of avenues of phone networks, which is a bit strange, but it doesn't really make a difference to me as long as they give me a good service and I can use my phone, which at the moment is all going swimmingly, and we're able to do that. A few people were asking when I was after getting a job why I didn't do like the theatre work, because that's where my background is, that's where my training is, my degree is in technical theatre. All the experience we had on ships was all theatre based. Why don't I get a job in the theatre as opposed to where I've ended up, which is McDonald's, if you didn't know. So from what I understand from what John's told me, the theatre here is very unionised. You need to kind of know somebody to get in, and the fact that I was just a newcomer to the country and I haven't really got any work experience in the country doesn't really work in my favour right now. So I thought just get a job, something just to pay the bills, and then we can work on the theatre stuff once we get the ball rolling. About the house that we're in currently, someone asked if we rent or own it. We are currently renting. The prospect of owning currently, well, we didn't both have jobs when we moved into this place, so the prospect of owning anywhere at the minute is very small. That is the plan for the end game. We obviously are going to have to save up some money and just keep an eye on what's going on, watch out for the market and all that kind of stuff. But I think we're going to be here for like a couple of years and just sort of settle in and figure out everything before we even start to look at houses. But that is the end goal. And then I thought this was a good question. Someone asked what food from the UK I'm going to miss. And that's a tricky question because there's a few. There's stuff like bacon, because bacon is different here than it is in the UK. Things like certain crisps that we have. So like my favourite's always been Skips or Monster Munch, pickled onion Monster Munch. Anyone who's not British is going to be looking at the YouTube like, what? That's really strange. We'll find some and I'll show you what I mean. That kind of stuff, like proper British flavoured things that just don't exist here. Biscuits, because biscuits don't really exist here. Like there's Oreos and cookies and stuff like that, but I mean proper English biscuits, like chocolate digestives and custard creams and all those kind of things that are really yummy and really tasty, but they don't really exist here. But there's things to replace them, and there are British stores around where you can buy them, obviously a little bit more expensive because of the import, or there might be some nice friends in the UK that may send me something. Obviously we'll make it work. The whole point of being in a new country is there's new things to experience, so there's obviously lots of Canadian sweets and treats that I get to have now instead, which is great, and the British stuff is sad, but it will be okay. So this video is a little bit of a short one, but I thought I'd get through some of those questions that you've been asking. If you still want to ask questions, that's absolutely fine. I may gather them up for a next question video, or I may just answer them on the YouTube video that you've asked them on. But I think tomorrow I may do a bit of a tour of the house that we're in, give you a bit of a view of where we're staying and living right now. Other than that, if you want to give a like to this video, or you can comment, and make sure you're subscribed, and then you'll get all the latest videos. Thanks for watching.